Hello and welcome back to another Excel video. In this video I want to look at these animals here, the heights of the animals, and do some formulas and things like that. So here we can see I've got the penguin, which is surprisingly 1.3 meters tall. And I want to be able to explain that and put meters on the end. So what we can do is we go there to number, and here we can see we get the type. Now, the type that we want is this one, right? So that would be 1.30 meters, but we do want to have meters on the end, right? So what we can do is just do a space and then quotation marks and then M. And see, that's going to give us the figure that we want, right? So 1.30 meters. And you can see as this one's 5.91. That's why we did it to this many decimal places. So we can go to this, back to custom, and it normally appears right at the bottom there. So I can just click on that. And that's going to change all of those to the figures that we want. Okay, so what if I wanted to convert these to centimeter figures? So what we could do is we click on this cell. We want to convert this. Obviously, we know it's 130 centimeters, but we want to be able to explain it in the formula. So what we can do is we can say, well, that's going to equals B2. So we're going to take B2, and then we need to multiply it. So we'll do the asterisk, and then we're going to times 100. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do an and with a quotation mark. We want there to be a gap, so do a gap, centimeters, and the end. So you can see that's 130 centimeters. What we can do is we can just drag down here, and you see we get all the other figures. So that's pretty cool. So now we want to look at the height of the tallest animal. So the height of the tallest animal is going to be 5.91 meters. So how do we get the height there? So we click on the cell we want here, and we're going to go here, and there's a function called max. And the numbers we're dealing with are these numbers over here. So that will be the max of B2 to B5. If we press enter, we're going to get 5.91 meters. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to try to get it to say the name of the tallest animal. So this needs a little more explanation. And in this we need to think about matching. So what we need to do, if we match a value, say we know already that the matching value that we're looking for is at 5.91, right? And if we then match it with the B2 to B5, right? Similar to how we did before. And then there's this match type. This is not really worth going into. Essentially to do with ascending and descending columns, which we don't have. So in general, we can just leave that as 0. And then we do that. Let's see what happens. So you can see we get the number 2. So what does that mean? Well, essentially it means that 5.91 meters is the second on the list. So that's number 2. So what we need to do is we need to essentially say, well, this is second on the list on this column. We need to find out what's second on the list in this column, this section of the column, and then output the name over here. Okay, so this outputs 2, so it's the second one on the list. So to get the name of the tallest animal, we're going to need to get that value. But instead of putting this 5.91 in, I want to put in the max value. Okay, so let's try and do that. So again, we'll start here by doing a max of these values. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put a match in. Okay, so we're going to output, again, we're going to output that number 2. So we can output the number 2 like that. And again, we'll put in this 0, which I said isn't really that important. Okay, so we've output the number 2, but at this point, we need to essentially compare that with what's in the first column. And then we want those numbers to be the same, right? And the way to do that is to use another function, which is called index. Okay, and this index is going to be looking at A2 to A5. A2 to A5. You can see as I do it, everything is becoming a little bit clearer here. And you can see that essentially is all you need to do. So that's a pretty clear way of doing it. And then let's take a look. We obviously have to close a bracket. We've opened too many. You can see there's 2 closed and 3 open. So we'll now make sure we level those brackets and press enter. And we get giraffe. That's all for now. So thanks for watching.